What are you doing, Penelope?
An egg. One egg.
One egg?
Yeah.
What'd you do today for farm chores?
Feed the chickens and then I collected the egg. This egg.
Oh, good job. We're almost ready to get rid of the heat lamps. Flying through the water also. This is not cutting it, this little thing. Hi, my name is Jason from Sow the Land, and in today's video, I thought it'd be fun to do a early season tour of our garden. We're gonna show you guys what's been growing and what hasn't been growing yet. It's still early in the season, but we already have things popping up. The garden method that we do is a no-till garden method. This year it has been the most organized. I mean, we still have work to do on it, but it's been the most organized so far in the last 3 years. I feel like it's the best garden that we've had so far in I think it's 7 years that we've been growing food. We made a map of our garden, but then we realized that we probably should have put like markers, because then you forget and then you'd always need the map with you to figure out what's what we planted, or remember what we planted. And so we're using some popsicle sticks to mark down what we planted.
But see how like they didn't grow here, so it's like I wonder if we should come back in with more seed and just like fill in the gaps, because there's nothing growing here. So now we could go through the row when they're labeled, now that they're labeled, and just see what's growing. We planted a lot.
You know, we started growing food in the Los Angeles area in raised garden beds in boxes. And we did like the square foot gardening, learned from that, and it kind of evolved, and next thing you know, we're here. We have a low tunnel / greenhouse that I made, which has been producing for us, and this is probably the most it has produced for us in the 2 years that we've had this low tunnel. We are on 1.5 acres, and our vegetable garden is 1,700 square feet. And every single year it gets a little bit bigger, and I feel like this year is the most organized and the most, it looks better than our previous years. And I think that's what you want. You know, when you're growing your own food, you want to improve every single year. Every single year I feel it should get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. And that's been our goal, is to be more efficient growing vegetables. All right, we have 13 rows in our garden. Let's start at this end. We'll show you guys what's growing and what's not growing.
All right, this row number 1, we have buttercup, and we have a lot of plants, so we may have to thin them out because we have a lot. We have buttercup, horseradish, and butternut squash. And we planted them in this row, this first row, because we wanted to allow them to have room to kind of spread out this way. This second row is kind of a mess. I didn't label it, but we know what's going on. We've got some carrots and onions mixed in there. Under the row cover, we've got some collards, some spinach.
One thing that I love using is this Agribon row cover. And we mainly use it for all our kale and leafy greens, and it helps with the bugs. It's not perfect, but it works. It works really well, and we've been using it for years.
And then we've got some beets and more carrots on the far end. So it's mostly a carrot, onion, beets mix.
We planted this garden in April, and now we're about in June right now. And we're not expert gardeners. We're just kind of going through this journey of trying to grow our own food. It just has evolved. The more you do it, I feel the more you should get better at it. But still, you don't know what's gonna grow or if your garden is gonna be that successful.
This is our tomato row, one of our tomato rows. We've got Roma tomatoes here, some other tomatoes growing there. And then at the end, we have tomatillos. I wanted to grow some cherry bush tomatoes. I've grown them before, and they're like little tiny bushes that grow little tiny cherry tomatoes, and they're really good. They don't get very big, and I love them because they just stay in one spot and they grow a lot of tomatoes. We also have some bell peppers and sweet peppers, and then some Baker Creek monster peppers that I'm really excited about. I don't see too many starts coming up, but I have some starts in the greenhouse that look fantastic, so I can always just transplant them here. These 2 rows are cucumbers, and we're just waiting on a trellis from a friend that we're going to do another archway, and we're going to grow the cucumbers over the arch. So it's going to come over like this. I saved the insides. I left them bare so that way we can, once they start growing, they'll provide shade, and we'll plant some shaded plants. Some plants that like shade in this inner row here once we clean up the weeds.
One of my favorite things to grow is cucumber. I love a bunch of cucumbers. And we have a few growing right here.
We've got some flowers growing in here as like a border. We've got beets, and then with another little border of flowers, we've got pickling cucumbers, and then we'll put another trellis this way, and they'll just climb over that. And then we've got some of Penelope's flowers that she planted on this side, and some pumpkins. We've got way too many pumpkins. We're just gonna have to dig up and repot and give them to a friend.
Not knowing what's gonna grow is, I guess, the challenge. You know, that's the beauty of it. That's our hope, you know, that our garden will provide for us, that we will be provided for, that all the hard work put into it will be all worth it as the garden continues to grow and produce food for our family and produce the healthiest, tastiest, best food that we could possibly grow.
This row is our potato row. They look fantastic. I am so excited. Oh, we've got green beans. So we've got green beans. These are just regular green beans. I think on this side might be the yellow green beans, and these might be the green beans. But we've got green beans. We're gonna put another trellis archway up. We've got some yard-long beans on both sides, and they're gonna climb up and hopefully provide some shade. And in the inside, we can plant kale and Swiss chard, maybe broccoli. And then in this row, we've got more tomatoes. This is another tomato row. These ones look fantastic. These were grown in the greenhouse. I have some more growing in the greenhouse to transplant. So this will be a full tomato row. We've got zucchini and yellow squash. So this is the zucchini and yellow squash, and we planted them in this row because the garlic is about done. It's gonna be done in like maybe 1 more month from now. So we can kind of allow the plants to grow in this direction. They'll have plenty of space. And then right behind you here is the garlic that's gonna be done pretty soon. The scapes are already ready. We are just harvesting the scapes as we need them, and we've been going through them pretty quickly. They're so yummy.
Look at this. We have tomatillos growing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomatillos. 7 tomatillos growing. We did not have luck with tomatillos last year, but it looks like this year we're in luck.
We also have some cilantro, some volunteer cilantro from last year or the year before, and that looks good. We have to mulch this, but we've got cilantro growing, so you have to pick your battles. And then in this last row, we've got some jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. This is Penelope's row. These are the things that she chose. I actually don't know what she planted in her row. She just kind of grabbed a bunch of seeds and like threw them in. We gave her a row so that way she could just have some fun. I do think she's growing corn, but her row's looking really good. Her row actually doesn't have any weeds in it, but ours do, so we just need to go through and pull up some weeds.
We have spinach growing. So yeah, that was our early season garden tour. Still early, things are still growing, but it looks like for the most part everything's growing that we planted, and that's good. this part of the season is of us trying to keep up with the weeds and the grass that pops up and still continue to plant food, but just to kind of get in that habit of keep planting seeds all throughout the year and keep planting food. But I hope you enjoyed this little mini tour that we have of our small homestead here, and we appreciate you guys watching. Again, my name is Jason from Sow the Land, and we'll see you guys next time.